Look, I know it's 2023, and with that being said, I mean, do these things, these little wheel guns, these little revolvers still have a place in modern society? I don't know. Actually, yes, I do. I know for a fact that they do. Let's talk about the top 5 revolvers of 2023. Welcome back, everybody. Clint today with Classic Firearms. Yes, here to bring you the top 5 revolvers of 2023. It is, you know, a very modern time, and you would think that some of these classic wheel guns just probably don't have a place here now with all the semi-auto awesomeness and capacities that you could ever ask for and things like that. But I do believe that revolvers definitely still have a place in today's society. And quite frankly, there's always going to be a special place in my heart for some revolvers as well. So without further ado, let's roll into top 5 revolvers of 2023. And my number 5, a lot of you are probably going to be like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense because this gun is in no way new for 2023, and that's the Colt Single Action Army, the 1873 SAA. That is just, look, it's legendary in its own way, so much so that it's still produced today by so many different manufacturers, and you can find it in so many different variations. This is one that I actually grew up with. This is a very old revolver, chambered in .22. This is an old Puma 1873, and if you want something newer that, you know, actually works really, really well and also has a whole bunch of different variations, take a look at the Heritage Rough Rider. I mean, it is just a phenomenal .22 little single action revolver. Now, the 1873 by Colt, again, legendary. 45 long Colt is just something that you're going to find everywhere you go. And there's a reason for that. And there's also a reason why so many manufacturers still produce this gun. And that is just because, again, how wonderful it feels. Again, there's just something iconic about that, you know, that single action feel. Again, it's just something that you could easily learn the fundamentals on, and something that you could pass down through generations, and it's still going to work no matter what. This gun, again, I grew up with this shooting 2022, and short of just putting oil in, you know, the cylinder itself, this has had no maintenance, and it's 22, it gets dirty, and it still shoots as if it's brand new. It works wonderfully, and I absolutely love it. So again, Heritage Rough Rider makes a fantastic 22 model if that's what you want. Again, it's just a lot of fun for plinking, but there's so many different calibers, so many different variations of the 1873 Single Action Army that it's really hard to say, no, it can't be on a list for any year, if you ask me. It's just one of those timeless designs that will always have a cool factor. And that's why it's at least number 5 on my list. And with that being said, let's go ahead and move into my number 4 pick. Next up is a name that needs no introduction when it comes to firearms in general, but it's Smith & Wesson and the model 686. Now, we did a top 5 revolvers before, and of course that was quite some time ago, and well, we're talking about 2023. We've had a lot of new products introduced, and when I read through some of the comments back on that old video, I remember you guys really liked the Smith & Wesson model 686, so I did some digging on my own, and well, having to actually fill one, it was nice. And this gun already just has a legendary status to it. It seems like it's probably one of the best choices for an EDC revolver if you so choose to do that. Chambered in .357 Magnum, a little bit shorter barrel, and on top of that there is an option for a 7-round capacity, which again is great for a revolver because typically you get like 5 or 6, so having that one extra, good. It's probably very good that you have that. I'm a capacity kind of guy, so you know, there's that. But anyway, the Smith & Wesson model 686 is already just a beautiful looking gun. That trigger that Smith & Wesson has on these are phenomenal. The double action, single action is very, very smooth, and it's something that quite frankly you guys are going to love to shoot if you get the option to. And yes, even though it is a little bit heavier, I still think it would make a great little carry gun as well. My number 3 pick is slightly my number 3 pick over the Smith & Wesson model 686 at number 4, quite simply because the Ruger GP100 also has that 7-round capacity, but it has a front sight that comes naturally or just comes right out of the factory that I prefer over the red ramp sight of the 686. The GP100 actually has a fiber optic sight, and those just naturally pick up a little bit easier for me whenever I'm shooting. Now, this gun is also a little bit heavier, coming in at about 40 ounces compared to the 35, 36 ounces of the 686. So if you wanted this to be a carry gun, there is that. However, if you think about the weight of a fully loaded Glock 19 with an RMR or any other red dot and also a Surefire X300, then they're actually about an ounce difference. So, you know, there is that when you think about a carry gun. However, you do get a red dot and a weapon light and, well, a larger capacity over just the revolver with 7 rounds of 357 Magnum. So, you know, to each their own, but some people really do love carrying a revolver. Ask Clint Smith over at Thunder Ranch. He loves that type of stuff because you can get up close and personal to somebody and not have to worry about, well, the gun not discharging because it's out of battery because it's too close to somebody. When you think about a lot of confrontations, especially for self-defense, it's usually within arm's reach. So I see where Clint Smith is definitely coming from on that front. But anyway, back to the Ruger. This gun, first of all, just looks beautiful. The GP100 and the SP101, which is a little bit lighter, maybe a little bit more friendly to carry, but I really just love the overall look, feel, finish of the GP100. And even though it is a little bit heavier, does also offer that one extra caliber or one extra capacity of the 357 caliber, which again, I really do like. So number 3, the GP100, number 4, the 686, number 5, the legendary 1873 single action Army that's still produced today. What's my number 2, you ask? Well, let's find out. My number 2 is the Colt Python. Yes, we're going back to that legendary classic firearm that is still being produced today, even though it came out, it was re-announced, I guess you could say re-released just a couple years ago. Well, it's still prevalent in 2023. They've also got now the Anaconda that's come back, and Colt, I think, just did an amazing job with this revolver. I've always seemed to love it. It is just again, an iconic gun I've talked about before. You know, Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead, that's what he uses. And do you think we're actually going to see anything else from The Walking Dead with Rick in it? I mean, I know they keep hinting at this or that, but I mean, is there something coming? I don't know. Or you guys just want that series to be done and over with? Let me know down in the comments. But anyway, the Colt Python, having experience with that gun, and I remember shooting it for the first time at SHOT Show 2020, I think it was, or there wasn't a SHOT Show 2020. Maybe it was 21. I don't remember. But anyway, I got to tell you, it was just so smooth shooting. That trigger, that take up, both double action and single action, especially double action, because that was just such a smooth pull and it felt amazing. It's no wonder that the Colt Python, of course, is on my list. Now, before we roll into my number 1 pick, I do want to go ahead and shout out a couple of honorable mentions because, well, they exist, like the Smith & Wesson Governor, which again is a 45 long Colt with moon clips. You can shoot 45 ACP, but also 410 shotgun shells in a handgun. It's freaking awesome, and I love that, all right? The Taurus Judge is comparable, but the reason I kind of favor the Governor over the Judge, for one, better ergonomics. I think the gun just feels better, and 2, you get an extra round compared to the 5-round capacity of the Judge. You get like 6 in the Governor, if I remember correctly, so that's cool. The other one is actually new for this year, the Henry Big Boy 357 revolver. Now, it is brand new for this year, and so, you know, it hasn't really been put through its paces as far as how reliable and durable it might be, but I can tell you right now, I shoot this for fun quite often, both in 38 Special and 357, and I truly love it. It is a lot of fun. It's just your standard groove sight that you see right here, and it just looks classy. I love the brass design. It really goes well with, you know, the brass guns, the other big boys that are out there. And again, I just really like what Henry has done. Now, this might make my top 5 list next year after I shoot it some more and really rough it up and we see how durable and reliable it is after some time, but you know, we'll see. Anyway, now that we're done with that, let's go ahead and roll into my number 1 pick. And my number 1, the Chiappa Rhino. It just blows my mind. And we know we've got to shoot this gun quite a bit on the channel. And there's just something so pleasant about shooting the Rhino. It's so different, even though you're shooting 357 Magnum, and yes, 357 Magnum's no, you know, it's a decent round. It lets you know that you're shooting not a punk cartridge, right? And the Chiappa Rhino, the way this gun works is the barrel is actually shooting from the bottom chamber of the cylinder. So instead of shooting from the top cylinder where most of your barrels are, it's actually shooting from down here. And because of that, you have a really low bore axis, as it's called. And that, if you notice where this revolver is sitting, how the barrel is up top, so naturally you'll get a little bit more recoil like this when you shoot. Because the Rhino is pretty much right in line with my index finger, my trigger finger, when I hold it out straight, that recoil is coming straight back. And the gun doesn't really have any muzzle flip. It just pushes straight back. It is so wild. It's so weird, and it actually makes it really easy to get some quick follow-up and accurate follow-up shots with it. On top of that, the trigger is short, smooth, it feels great, and it is really easy to shoot fast, which is something that you're gonna wanna do, but you're just gonna have to keep reloading with that 6-round capacity. But it is what it is, the Chiappa Rhino and all of its different variations, and it's also a lightweight gun, which is pretty nice. But anyway, the Chiappa Rhino, just a fantastic revolver. It's number one on my list, just because of that cool factor and because of how pleasurable it is to shoot. So let me know down in the comments section below, what do you guys think? Do you think that this is a good list? Do you think I was really way off there? I know a couple of you, dude, how come you didn't talk about the Beretta Manchurian revolver, or however you pronounce it? That's because I literally have no experience with it whatsoever, and maybe I get to shoot it a little bit at SHOT coming up this year. Maybe, you know, I'll talk with Beretta and we'll get that figured out. But of course, that is also, you know, the gun that the, you know, GIGN uses, you know, the French, you know, special operators dudes. So, you know, it's pretty cool. But anyway, so we'll talk about that maybe later in a different video, or perhaps maybe if I ever get my hands on one, Beretta, wink wink. So we'll leave it off there, guys. I'll see you down in the comments section all about revolvers for 2023. Do you still think that they have a practical use, or do you think that the semi-auto world has dominated the everyday carry market? Do you think that revolvers still have a place in this modern society? Let me know, guys. Always, we appreciate you, your viewership, and for stopping by. God bless, and we'll see you next time at Classic Firearms.